The pool water is cold.
There are days I just don't know how I get out of bed. I just can't get over the fact that my son's a hardcore DF.
Dad, never mind. It's not the pool. It's the bathtub. It's cold.
I just often wonder if he's gonna fall into a ditch one day and just not know how to get out.
Dad, when do I cross the street? Is it before the traffic stops or after it?
I often wonder and think to myself, if he were to get older, is he gonna choke on a hot dog or swallow a knife? It's really bad.
Dad, I figured out how to unlock the locks.
If you're dealing with a DF at home, don't fret. We have the DF alert.
Dumb fuck, dumb fuck, dumb fuck.
All you have to do is press the button when the DF goes off.
DF tracker for the DFs that get away.
Dad, I'm drowning in the pool, but at least you know where I am.
Thank you, DF. It's really shaped our lives.
DF tracker for the DFs that get away. Subject to no refund. The Dub Feed Variety Hour, featuring Thomas and Damien. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the only podcast that goes into hiatus more than Santa Claus, the Dub Feet Variety Hour. Back in action, baby.
Hello, 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 hello.
And the infamous hello has come back. Guess who's here with us? The one, the only, Thomas the Hitman Zakeo.
What is going on, sir?
What is happening?
Nothing much. It has been a really long time since our last podcast, and you guys will never know what it is because it is never coming out.
This is being recorded now in August, and we will get this to you front center in about 3 months, probably. Probably come out like January 2023, 2024. I think it's slated in between Black Panther and Secret Wars, just for general reference of when.
In other words, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Speaking of which, Wakanda Forever. Have you seen the trailer?
I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't seen it yet.
I have. I'm not ready to move past the notion of Chadwick not being in it.
So,
but I've been hearing good things to an extent. No,
I think visually, from whatever I see in the trailer, it looks beautiful.
Okay.
And I think, I mean, this is a given, right? I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but the costume design, gorgeous.
Right.
Really is it's really, I mean, I understand why they got nominated. I think they may have won a couple years ago for costume design, but
I believe they did. I don't remember for sure. And I do remember being really blown away by the general design.
Yeah.
And it's the sets and everything were fucking glamorous.
And I will say right off the bat, some of the shots and then the costumes were like, okay, this is good. The music choices that were made for the trailer, okay, pretty cool. I think it's sort of shouldn't be a surprise because it's Ryan Coogler, and he kind of uses a mix of like rap, because I know he used Meek Mill,
right, and he was pretty heavy with Kendrick.
And Kendrick, which
they did a whole album. Kendrick did a whole album for it, which is a fucking great album.
Yeah.
So,
and I think he used Meek Mill for Creed, and so for this he uses Be Humble, if I'm not mistaken. I think, and for a little bit, and then there's like some Fugees.
Oh, okay.
For a little bit, No Woman, No Cry, which
that I did. I guess I watched some of the trailer, but.
So
that part I caught.
Yeah, so it's like good choices, right? But then there's a couple of things where I guess we have to watch it together today, because there's a couple of things where. Well, can I tell you? Because I'm not spoiling
by
anything.
all means. I mean, I'm kind of after watching. I mean, it's not just necessarily the passing of Chadwick that I avoided the trailer. It's part of it, but I guess the other element is kind of the fact of Multiverse of Madness's trailer gave away every last detail of the movie.
For sure, yeah.
But that's them. That doesn't mean that would be the same case with this one, especially after such a hiatus of a time. Hiatus, it's the key word today.
It is. Yeah, I think the trailer itself doesn't give anything away. I mean, very little. and it's kind of just more of a visually like, oh, here's this, here's that, right?
Right.
And you kind of get an idea based off of. I mean, I cheated in a sense where I kind of read the comments. So basically, there is a shot where Chadwick's face is painted in like graffiti
Okay.
as like a memorial on like one of the building walls. And so people are pissed off because instead of replacing him to honor his character and to stay, just to keep the comics and the storyline going.
Yeah.
So they kill him off. And from what I understand, since he's the king and he has died, now you have like this kind of militia group that comes in and kind of like is trying to take over Wakanda.
Ah, okay. That's not supposed to be Namor's character, right?
The water person?
Yeah.
It is.
So he's trying to pretty much the vacuum has been created since the king has died.
Exactly.
And he's trying to invade and take over.
So the Aquaman character is here. Yeah. So
I mean, they've been talking about him coming into the comics for
a while.
millennia, essentially.
Right.
As soon as they started making MCU movies, they're like, when is Namor? I don't even know if that's how you say his name. Namor?
I think it's Namor.
Namor?
I believe so.
But I mean, I remember him being a relatively interesting looking and unique character within the comics. It's just, I mean, the take seems cool. I just don't know. Are they making him into this villain that's going to become an anti-hero type thing, or?
I guess that's to
I
the
think
beat.
essentially what's going to happen is he's going to come in, he's going to be invading, and then they're going to realize they can unite against a higher evil power.
Well,
I think.
and the thing is, because there's water involved, you get this Aquaman feel.
Right. Oh, I mean,
there's no denying that
denying
Marvel
that
was born
100%.
from DC. Sure. But then there's certain scenes where the people who live in the water
yeah.
are blue, and it's like, holy shit, this looks like Avatar. Then it starts losing me a little
So
bit.
now it's all affronts of every movie. We're gonna
For sure.
We're gonna take a little Aquaman. We're gonna take a little Avatar.
Well, because think about it, right? It's once I started getting the pieces together and people who know way more than I do about Marvel and kind of know where this story's going to go in this film.
Yeah.
You have these blue people living in the water who I guess let's use your hypotheses that he's going to become an anti-hero in some story where he's going to help.
I mean, essentially, it's probably the whole, literally just the story of Atlantis. They've been pushed to
Right.
the underground, and this is them coming out like they're sick of having to adapt and live where the fuck they want. Which, I mean, if long story short, I mean, you could talk to any. I mean, you can't actually talk to them physically, but you could talk to any writer in the past 50 years for all comics. All of these are allegories and metaphors to real shit. So them, like the fact that they're like Mayans and stuff, that makes sense because those were the ones that got pushed out of their land.
For sure.
They had to adapt literally underwater and become these water creatures. So I think that's obviously going to be probably the main plot point, and it's going to be a history lesson, which is totally cool because I feel like not enough people know all that shit.
Sure. I mean, I never, the whatever I know, whatever knowledge I have of comics, other than like Spider-Man and Punisher, a little bit of Ghost Rider.
Well, Spider-Man was real. He's a real person for at
He
least
lives
20
in Queens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 1920 Queens, and they called him the Spider Kid.
And I believe they...
He used to hang out with Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin.
Ah, that's right.
He was actually their stunt double, but when he wasn't stunt doubling for them, he was fighting crime on the mean streets of New York City.
And I thought that, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he meet... he met... what was it, Sandman? He met someone in a whites only bathroom, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did. You're not supposed to be here, Spider-Man. Oh, it's you, Peter Parker. Never mind. Come on in.
Get in here, you white guy.
Oh boy. And that's when they're like, all right, Miles Morales, come on out. Let's shut these bathrooms down.
1980. When the world's changed, we could do it. Anyway, so we'll watch Wakanda Forever later.
Yes.
I want your opinion on it. I think overall,
Worst case, well, not worst case, but after the fact, maybe I'll add in like a little snippet at the end of this pod of what I thought of the trailer, and we can go from there. But I mean, by all means, you elaborate. What was your take overall? Like, did you?
Oh yeah.
Does it seem enjoyable? Are you looking forward to this movie coming? Or
look, I wasn't on the Black Panther train
Okay.
when it
yeah, and
came
I
out.
remember we talked about it, and you saw it, and you were like, "It was okay." The
Yeah.
plot- I really enjoyed it, and I don't know. There was the sort of maybe it was the New York element that was implied to it, so they went from the I guess I'm a sucker for 80s, 90s like nostalgia, and because of that sort of being written into the plot and all these familiar actor faces, building to the present day story of Chadwick and what the hell is that actor's name?
Oh,
Or-
the Creed kid.
Yes. The Creed kid, the Wire kid, he's in everything and he's
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Other than Fantastic Four, he was phenomenal in everything. Michael B. Jordan, that was the name. Michael B. Jordan, as if we never skipped a beat in trying to figure out who he was. We didn't just have a full meal in between that little minor break that will not even be noticed through the magic of editing.
Michael, why? Oh, right, because we're talking about the villain or whoever from Black Panther. Yeah,
Yeah, Killmonger.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we should just dive into. So it's been a while since we did a last podcast, and in between that, the last one we did, we knew about multi-universe Doctor Strange. It was not in the works, but mostly it was like it was coming out in like a few months or whatever.
Right.
Whatever it was, and we were saying how that should be pretty awesome, or hopefully it was going to be awesome because Sam Raimi was behind it, and
100%.
and and he's got a cool weird style, and I think it works for such a cool weird character / I guess movie because it's a sequel. So kind of I think we both felt that this was going to be a one up from the original the first Doctor Strange.
Well, I actually enjoyed the first Doctor Strange.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
Like
I'm
we
saying
thought,
could it got better.
Like to set the bar even higher.
For sure.
I think the downfall, though, not to jump too far
No,
ahead,
please.
but the downfall was Spider-Man No Way Home set the bar way too high in terms
sure.
of multiversal notions and expectations, and multiverse fell short.
But I do want to say, it's funny. It's something to bring up that a lot of there's a couple of people I worked with. They watch Marvel movies or whatever,
Right.
and one person brought up a really good point, which was that all of this should have ended at I guess phase 1, whenever after Endgame.
Oh yeah, I think that's technically phase 3.
Oh, 3? Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because they're in phase 4.
Yeah.
So, like, the story's over. Now, I know phase 4, they're starting to introduce this whole multi-universe thing, and I
Right.
get it. This is a way for them to expand and AKA sell merchandise.
Right.
But,
Here's
Mm-hmm.
at least from my perspective, here's where lies the problem. When they built into phase 1, it was Iron Man.
Right.
It was Hulk. It was all these side movies that had a bigger picture in mind, building to something big.
right.
So far, everything we've gotten in quote unquote phase 4, there's no overlap, no underline. Like there's little gems here and there, but there's no like over the top or underlying bridges between each movie anymore.
100%.
The series have had more overlapping than the movies.
Well, and that's what I mean. What ultimately ruined it for me for the multiverse Doctor Strange one
Yeah.
was that it's, I guess, sort of taking after the WandaVision
Right.
show.
Which I expected because obviously she plays a big role in the whole
But there's nothing-
multiversal stakes and all that crap.
But it's just such a, I know obviously because what the fuck is the Spanish girl's name? Well, who's she supposed to be?
America Chavez.
but
or Chavez.
who's her superhero?
She's supposed to be I forget what she is. I don't remember her superhero name.
Okay.
She's not Miss Marvel, she's not Captain Marvel, but
So-
essentially
okay.
she has the ability to
Punch you through a multiverse.
to multiversally travel.
Okay,
Which
so
is her. I'm glad that you brought her up because I rewatched it because I was trying to give I still plan to do like a breakdown of multiversal movies just as one full podcast. So I want to bring like Multiverse of Madness, Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Right.
and everything else that they've been touching. Even Loki, because Loki actually.
Oh,
the
yeah,
show
for
was
sure.
Great, but point is, I'm glad that you brought her up because I rewatched it with the hopes that I'd take a little more out of it that other people seem like they got. Because I talked to a lot of people and they're like, "Oh my god, you didn't like it? It was so good." I'm like, these are people that did not like Spider-Man No Way Home, so things kind of make sense. But anyways, I found her so much more annoying
Oh yeah.
the second time around. And she's not a bad actress. She did fine. It's just they made her such a like a little obnoxious little twerp character. And even at the end, and the thing, my biggest beef at the end was the fact that she went through all this. She couldn't figure out how to control her powers. And then, of course, typical movie fashion, right to the wire. That's when she suddenly, I can open up another multiverse, and I could pinpoint exactly where I need to send Wanda. It's like, so throughout the whole movie, now you suddenly can, like, to the GPS perfect dot to dot ratio, latitude, longitude. That's how you figure out that position now. But the whole time before, you sent your parents into another dimension that you'll never find them again. It's like all of a sudden her powers are like streamlined perfectly, and that annoyed me. So
No, and I totally agree because I don't know if her character personally bothered me.
right,
I think I was too caught up on the fact that what I was watching was literally the same scene for over 2.5 hours. And I think maybe that's what made her so annoying, which was like, she can't do anything. I need your help. She can't do anything. I need your help.
Unfortunately, that's a trope that has been used a gazillion and a half times, and that made me like, ugh, come on. Honestly, like, let's just be 100% real. The best part of the entire movie, Pizza Papa, Bruce Campbell. That was by hands down.
Oh, for sure.
Nice and slapsticky.
Yeah.
Nice and campy, and it was just literally him punching himself in the face. And the fact that was an after credit, I was actually glad. But
No, I mean,
don't get me wrong, and that's me like harping on the movie a little too much. There are parts that I do appreciate in the movie. It's just overall put the whole movie together, and I didn't love it.
No, I mean, when you compare, it's not even comparing this movie to the original Doctor Strange,
Right.
But comparing this movie to other Marvel movies that have come out,
right.
This is a really weak one.
It's as I've said before, and you've heard me say it. I've said it to other people. I call it the multiverse of laziness.
Oh, for sure.
Because it was a overused plot.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like you said, the same redundant story happening over and over again. It was like we were trapped in a multiverse of Groundhog Day or some shit.
Yep.
So
yeah, when you want something, when you wanted something to happen, and it did happen,
right,
it was like, that's it. That's all you gave me.
Perfect example of this, and this might be a semi-controversial because the more people I talk to about this movie, the more like, really, you didn't like it? That's how I felt about Dunkirk.
Yeah. Oh, when we saw that together.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we actually, and I'm glad we didn't because we went to Alamo Draft House.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it was sold out.
Was it Alamo? Yeah.
We were trying.
It was the big.
Yeah.
That's the second. Okay.
So we were trying to go see it there. We were going to see it 70 millimeter. We were going to give Christopher Nolan as much money as he wanted from us. We get there, it was sold out. I don't know why we didn't, invest in looking on Fandango.com or something. But I guess we probably had a little movie fever in us. We're like, let's go catch it now. If we catch it, we're good.
Right.
We ended up seeing it, I think, over at Linden or
no,
maybe
we saw
Atlas. I don't remember where. Maybe Kew Gardens. I don't remember.
We were in your hood.
Oh, so maybe we saw it in Williamsburg Cinemas. I don't remember. Yes, that's right, because we were already in my neighborhood. So maybe that's why. That's why we took the time to venture to Alamo.
We saw it at Atlas because we got Manor first.
Yes.
And then that's what we did. We got something to eat first, then we went to go see it, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds about right. That sounds like my MO.
Yeah.
But
that's, yes. So it was Manor.
Yeah.
Because we got food after. And 100% that's a great movie to bring up as a comparison.
Right.
And it's funny because Dunkirk is like 40 minutes 40 minutes shorter than Doctor Strange because that's like an hour and a half. That's apparently his shortest movie.
Yeah.
And yet it just felt so bloated and so long, and it doesn't help.
It sucks because it's like the expectation of the movie was supposed to bring not justice, but bring the story, the original story, which is all a true story. Bring that some justice and some understanding, because I knew nothing about the story. I read up on the story when the movie was coming out.
Right.
Very fascinated, very curious about like all the events that occurred in this film.
Right.
And then when I watched the movie, I was just like, okay, so they wrecked. Okay, so now they're escaping. Okay, so they wrecked again. Okay, now they're escaping. And it was just the redundancy just kept turning and turning and turning. And I get it. That might have been what happened to these people in reality, in the true story. but there could have been a more creative cinematic way to demonstrate that, so that I wasn't bored out of my fucking mind.
Right.
So,
I mean, and yeah, there's
and it was beautifully shot too. Sorry to go off on a tangent as well.
no. And so it's a point of like, it's a pretty movie in the sense of stylistically.
Right. It was very Nolan.
A sound mix. It was all mostly on location audio, which is very, very, very rare to see. So that was really cool. So all in all, the technical aspect behind it is great. And so if you want to look at it as saying, yeah, I want to enjoy this, fuck the story, I'm just because it's the grand scheme of it is just technically it's going to be awesome. You're not going to really see that in hence Doctor Strange, where it's so heavily CGI and it's so poorly done. Yeah, where it's kind of like, oh god, here we go again with the same bullshit, ugly, rendering of things. But that's a great movie to bring up because it's just one of those things where it's just like, and that's another movie because Doctor Strange has like a 70 or something around Tomatoes, but like Dunkirk's got like a 96. So you go to say to yourself like, well, how much dick do you have to suck for
for a good critical rating?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For you to get that, because I mean that's not to say that Tenet did that high. I think Tenet got like a 72. That was pretty panned.
Yeah, which I watched half of with my sister. Granted, it was after a long drive, and we had ourselves a couple beers, so we were a little buzzed. We just had driven into Maryland and we're watching it on TV. We probably watched a good hour of it, and we're just like, all right, this is cool, but what the fuck is this movie about?
Right.
We had no clue, like, what we were watching in that time span. So
I haven't seen it, and it never really caught.
I bought it.
Yeah, I know you bought it. We were together when you bought it.
Yeah.
You bought the Steelbook, didn't you?
I did.
Yes, you did.
Why?
I think you actually used my my number, so I got points for it. Well, thank you. But,
paying it forward.
I can't say a goddamn thing, and I'll tell you why. Because I ended up buying Halloween Kills.
Oh, you sick son of a bitch!
I did because
you are a glutton for punishment, my friend.
I know. Well, could we hop off this and go into that really quick?
Yeah.
So as of the time of this recording, Halloween Ends has released a short teaser thing about a week or two ago.
Yeah, and in all honesty, the trailer looks better than the steaming dumpster pile of trash that Rob Zombie dropped for the Munsters movie.
Oh my god! Could we talk about that?
Let's talk about that.
The other one. Yeah.
We'll circle back to Halloween.
Sure.
Ends because we did go on a rant about Halloween Kills before.
Yes.
And
yeah, that's true. Munsters is a much more interesting topic.
But we'll circle back to at least the trailer because there are some moments in the trailer that I appreciate, but at the same time, it's kind of like we know what we're getting at this point.
100%. That. Just quickly wanted to add to that, which is I watched the trailer and I go exactly verbatim to what you just said, which is I know where this is going. We've sort of seen this already.
Right.
Felt like a wrestling match for
exactly.
But
it will be hate watch. That is 100% certain.
That we got to see
be
together.
Paid for.
Yeah.
It will be hopefully sought out for free.
If I'm not doing Pluto TV or Paramount or Peacock.
Yeah.
So if it's not on Peacock where we can watch it free on a free subscription, we'll find a way. But we got to watch it together because Halloween Kills, that was more my fault. We could not link up to watch it together.
Right. We had intentions to, but then plans kind of.
That was my that. But however, though,
we did both watch it on our own times.
Yes, we watched
and
it.
Then circle back with notes.
We watched it on the same day, just obviously not together, and then we instantly spoke about it. But this one, I make a promise that as long as you're okay with it, we're going to watch this one because it's the final, and we'll probably say it's better than Halloween Kills, but we're still going to say it's a piece of shit.
That I feel definitely makes sense. I feel like it probably will be better.
Yeah,
but that's like saying a dumpster full of shit is better than a dumpster not full of as much shit. So,
what a poet.
that was Walt Whitman.
I was gonna say Shel Silverstein. Please we have to
yes
talk about piece of shit, talking about dumpster fire and shit trash.
I tried to give Rob Zombie some redemption just because of how bad the trailer was. So I went on his YouTube page and I started looking at some of his music videos.
Right.
And I heard a couple songs. I'm all right. He's still got some vibes within his music, and the music's still exactly what it was. Still sounds good. Still appreciative of it. So I was glad for that.
Right.
but it still did not take that nasty taste out of my mouth that was the trailer for the Munsters.
So
Was he trying to go like? I mean, I feel like it's just pulling in every possible direction that a trailer should not be pulled in, because it's like it seemed like he was going campy, but then it seemed like he was going PG, but then it seemed like it was just too many things different in every other direction.
So
with the main pinnacle focus on his beautiful Cheryl Moon zombie wife at the forefront as always.
well, apparently,
she's lucky she's so beautiful, all right? Or else I'd have worse things to say.
well,
No, I'm kidding.
she may be okay looking, but her acting is fucking horrendous,
Yeah.
and it's a prime example of.
It's not horrendous. It's camp on purpose.
Yeah, sure. Say that to every movie he's done with her in it.
Oh yeah.
But apparently, him and his wife are like big Munsters fans,
Right.
and
Which this like okay, so if you and I, we could say that we're big Halloween fans. If we made a Halloween movie, perhaps let's just throw it out there like something called Mindy Myers. I don't know.
that's a good title.
Just one day. But I can tell you the amount of effort and enthusiasm and creativity that we put into it will be represented on screen, especially of us being super big fans of Halloween. However, you say that Rob Zombie and his wife are big fans of the Munsters. The trailer just came off as like a weird caricature or just a blatant ripoff of the original show, which I stumbled upon. I get just maybe because of reruns on television, and I loved it. And it was one of those like if they had a 4-hour block of the show, I'd watch it just out of entertainment, and I became a fan just out of nowhere. As with all the shows I've been binging since I was a child.
I mean, but I think that's because it piqued my interest when I saw the trailer. I was like, let me actually watch an episode, because I never got like Addams Family and that. Like not to say I don't like them, it just never crossed my radar.
Right.
But we came across one on a couple of free ones on YouTube, so we watched one. I mean, it's cute. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
But it's very campy, and
It is.
and it's meant to be silly. And the thing is,
It's very. I forgot what I read online, but there is it was the product of something like Frankenstein or something, because that was not that it wasn't serious, but it was serious enough where they needed to like sort of parody it, and that's how the Munsters sort of got formed.
which is funny, because then I feel like people are going to argue that this movie is parodying the actual
Yeah.
Munsters.
It's parodying the parody that's already been parodying what was parodied.
Exactly. And I think
It's a paradox.
I think Rob Zombie's argument is that he's trying to keep the vibe, energy, I guess, charm of the Munsters
Right.
in this. And I gotta say, because there's nothing positive I can say about the trailer.
No.
It's poorly edited. Whether it's intentional or not, that's not a good look.
It comes off as like do you remember back when you'd pop in an old VHS for Disney movies?
100%, I know exactly where you're going with this.
You know the trailers, the feature presentation that you'd get? It feels like one of those.
Yeah.
Down to like I kind of remember some weird annoying narration in the zombie trailer. Am I wrong?
Yeah, in the very
could've said
beginning, like
A family.
yeah, something like that, like the most romantic story
Exactly.
ever. But it was
When lovers quarrel, spends to the in-law or whatever. That's not even what he said, but it's just stupid narration, which I get. You're trying to give it that older vibe, but it didn't give the vibe
No.
of the 60s
No.
or 50s whenever the show came out. It just gave it a lazy,
it just looked late. It
stupid
looked
vibe.
rushed, like and
rushed, lazy.
and how you gonna argue? Sure, you're not. They wrapped like last month,
Right.
And so I'm sure, they're getting dailies every day. So they're sending that off to the editor or editors. I don't know how many they are, but I'm sure they're cutting through, and because I think they have to have this uploaded. They have to have this finished and I guess uploaded to Netflix by September. So
Okay.
So it's a quick turnaround, but I understand that because the audio is pretty bad. I mean, you're hearing like pretty much on location. So like there's one particular instance where it's very hard to miss, where Sherry Moon is saying, "Oh, I yearn for, my heart runs cold because I don't have someone to love."
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then the grandpa, so then it cuts to the grandpa, and he's sitting at that long table, and it's a wide shot, so you can tell they're probably not getting the boom in there, but it's like really echoing. You hear a lot of the room, and it's just so messy. And then not only that, but like the colors. I remember when he was posting pictures on Instagram on like, day 12, day 30, whatever. and the colors, even on just a regular still, was just so intense and so like much that I was kind of nervous to see what, or not nervous because I didn't really give a fuck, but
Right.
kind of just curious to see what the final product was going to look like. And sure enough, it looked a lot worse than I had in mind, because the trailer itself, like one shot, they're putting the Frankenstein guy, they're wheeling him down the hallway, and it's all red,
Right.
and it looks like how we try to make colors in a film where
Oh yeah, just oversaturated, and it's like
yeah,
that,
they put a red shirt over a
that's
lamp.
going to take a lot of color correction.
Yeah, but it's just like so ugly, like done, and everything is so like vibrant and colorful in like the wrong way. And so, not to ramble anymore, apparently he had this idea where having these oversaturated colors and just being colorful made it feel like a comic. And so just to give you an idea where his mentality was, that his intentions was to make it, because a lot of people think that this is just a sort of a front, like you have a laundromat, but it's really a mafia.
So
run.
it's like a bait and switch. So then when you watch it, it's something else.
Yeah, because people think it's gonna be like a rated R movie. I highly doubt.
This is the funny thing, because I started, like, as always, I'll go through the comments to see what people are saying.
Oh, I was so curious,
And
and I
I-
read comments on this like a madman.
Yeah, I did too, and a lot of them were very much aligned with my views of it.
Right.
But then you have the as the young kids say, you have the Rob Zombie stands that no matter what he puts out is gold. So you have these like, oh my god, this looks perfect. I can't wait. I love seeing all these zombie styles to it. And I was just looking at all these comments. I'm like, are you guys fucking serious? Because like this, regardless of what you feel about zombie, because I have friends that love.
Yeah.
They preach to the Halloween movies, which I couldn't even get behind one. I
Dude,
didn't even like one.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. There's a poster on my wall, and the only person that can see right now, obviously, is Damien. But there's a poster on my wall.
And
It's
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. It's called "The Guide to Recognizing Saints." It is hands down. It's in top 5. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Right.
But I will tell you something. The director of that movie, Dito Montiel, who it's based on his life in Queens in the 80s. The book he wrote on it first is not good. So the movie's actually better, which is really rare.
Really?
But he then took Channing Tatum, who at that time, this was Channing Tatum's one of his first roles,
Right.
did a movie with him called Fighting. I don't know if you remember that movie.
I do.
Movie sucked. Then he did another movie, and then another movie after that. And then one of his, he did a couple of Channing Tatum movies, and then he did one, the last, if not the last film with
Magic Mike 3?
Robin Williams, where he plays like this gay man who's driving around. Apparently it's terrible.
Oh boy.
And it just goes to show that if another movie came out
Yeah.
with that director, even though he's managed to make
One of these gems.
one of these gems and
Yeah.
one of my all-time favorite, I'm not going to go and follow him anymore because I've lost complete faith. Because I'll give you, if you made, in this case, one of my favorite movies of all time, I'll give you 5 or 6 tries.
Yeah,
But if they're going
that's
to
a fact.
right, so
That's why I'm still giving Nolan a try. I'm curious about Oppenheimer.
oh sure,
but-
I'm sure it's going to be convoluting and boring. But see, your mentality on him is a lot stronger than mine because none of his movies I've seen,
Right.
I've been like, whoa, they've been like okay to like, eh.
Yeah.
But Rob Zombie, he's no different.
Yeah.
I really like Devil's Rejects. It's one of my favorite
Oh,
movies.
I was gonna say House of a Thousand Corpses was but Devil Rejects being the sequel to it,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah. I thought
it
fucking
picked up
great.
where it needed to pick up, and it filled in the blanks that were lacking in the House of a Thousand.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody in it. So.
Oh yeah, I mean it's crazy, it's brutal, it's a visceral, same thing as brutal, but
And there was actual plot intact.
There was actual
to
plot.
my understanding as well.
yeah, stylistically, it's like a dirty drive-in exploitation movie. I mean,
Yes.
it like the music is great, the ending is fantastic, it's awesome. It's just a really good movie. But
Yep.
I feel like that's what everyone hops on because you have all these fanboys that go, House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and it's like,
Can you believe he's directing Halloween? We couldn't have gotten a better director to do it.
and it's
like,
because all you're doing is you look at his resume and you go back to fucking movies that he did at this point almost 20 years ago already.
Right.
And it's just like there's a point in time where you got to say to yourself, This is why he also
Enough is enough.
he got like 40 million, if not less, than Munsters, which he didn't get a high budget.
Okay.
And apparently,
Yeah, he got I mean, it was a very short time. I didn't realize it was that short of a time he had to put it together and all that. So
yeah, and
makes sense, I guess.
and also this is being distributed through. Don't quote me on this. I think it's Warner, Universal. It's Universal.
Okay.
But it's Universal's sister company, which is a direct-to-home video.
I was gonna say if it was Warner Brothers, then it would have probably ended up on HBO Max.
Right.
But since Universal they probably have a deal with
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that goes to show that I think companies themselves are probably not as how can I say this in a nice way?
They're not as keen to the final,
Rob Zombie train
yeah.
as everyone else is. I don't think
we'll give them a straight to DVD for Netflix. How do you guys feel about that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. That's
Dude,
essentially what might have happened.
probably in the
And he's
background
like,
while
"Fuck
Sherry
it."
Moon is showing her tits just to get a deal. Bottom line is Rob Zombie. I never listened to his music. I'm sure it's good, whatever. But
I will say it's better than his directing. That's all the
That's what I'm
input I
saying.
can add for you.
it's
I probably
think-
heard a couple songs here and there.
I did
they blast-
Matrix. Matrix. I've heard a couple.
There's some stuff in the Matrix, but he got a lot of radio play in the 90s, 2000s.
I'm sure if I
So,
heard
probably
if
know
you
of some.
play, yeah. It's just if we had that opportunity where we make a gem and then
Yeah.
we have like 10 tries to make a movie, I guess all we need is one, right?
That's it. That's true.
But yeah, Munsters, I have no faith. I am so looking forward to watching it
Right.
because to me, I think it's going to be a fucking train wreck.
Back to Halloween ends, it'll probably be hate watched as well.
Yeah.
What do you give a potential prediction on its Rotten Tomato score? I'm
For the
thinking
Munsters?
like no more than 5%.
Oof. No. I think Munsters is probably going to get about, something keeps telling me 30.
Okay.
I say 30 because as shitty as Rob Zombie's movies have been,
Yeah.
he does generally still have he does the bare minimum of having a beginning, a middle, and an end.
True.
Even if it could be muddy. So there will be a story there. I don't think it's going to be a
Well,
confusing mess.
Back to Multiverse of Madness. It's kind of like Raimi did it.
Right.
You kind of you know what you're kind of getting with the Raimi film to an extent. I still feel like I don't want to fully blame Raimi for Multiverse of Madness just because I love Sam Raimi. So I don't think it's. I feel like there might have been some studio
For sure.
headbutting that probably took away from how dark and deep he wanted to make it. So
And it's also, it's what a shame too, because if you really think about it, I mean, this is probably going to get a lot of hate if our podcast was listened to by more people, but
yeah, if I put out more than one every 5 months, then yeah,
not
maybe
even that.
we
You could
get a
put
shot.
out like three a week. I don't
That's
think we're
true.
still getting
We
5.
still got 24 listens.
Hey, that'd be great.
It peaked.
I still think that before Iron Man,
Yeah.
I really do think Spider-Man platformed them into the stratosphere,
For
seeing
sure.
the potential of what Marvel movies can do.
What they could do and what is the potential of aggressive expansion, if
Right.
you will.
And so who's behind the original Spider-Man? Sam Raimi. So I think it's just, I know there was studio interference. I know there was a lot of pushback because it's just the nature
I
of
mean, I'm pretty sure that was the same deal with Spider-Man 3. No?
I
I don't think they gave him as
I
much. I mean, I could be wrong. This might just be me, as the kids say once again, standing for Sam Raimi and just defending him, even though maybe no, this is the script. They let me do whatever I had, free range, and I fucked
he had,
it up.
I think he had free reign.
Did he?
But I also think there was some, again, don't quote me on this, but there was some.
I just said free range, like if he was
He's a chicken. I think there was something about incorporating. There was like something about he wanted to extend the stories, but studio said no. So it was his way of putting all the villains he wanted
the
to in one movie.
oversaturation kind of.
I think.
Well, I know
I don't know.
he was, because to my knowledge, I mean, or at least whatever minimal research I did post movie, he was supposed to do Spider-Man 4. And
Right,
that was going to
which-
expand on a little bit more of the characters.
So that was it. So then they took out
But then after-
Tobey Maguire,
yeah,
and then years later they got Andrew Garfield.
right.
But there was a time lapse in because you're talking 2007 or 8 was Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, those movies, the trilogy, Spider-Man 3 came out in 2007 because I remember we used we made our own senior cut day to go see it in the theater, and we're all just like, really? This is what we cut's cool to see. So,
Well, I just think that I hope that anyone who saw Doctor Strange, the multi-universe one,
Yes,
and said, "Wow, this movie sucks. The director sucks." I really hope they go and see his other movies
for sure.
before
for
this
sure.
because Sam Raimi, going back to the Rob Zombie and the Dito Montiel thing, which
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate Doctor Strange because I have to reserve those for movies that really suck.
Oh, for sure.
It's not a terrible movie.
I
It's just not
definitely
a great
didn't hate
movie.
it. I just there's simply put, if you break it down to what's great and what's not great, or what's good and not good, the not good overtakes
Sure.
the good. So
So Sam Raimi will have my 10 passes, but
for sure.
but
He might even get a couple extra just given the classics that he's made.
for
so.
sure. I just think the best thing that I think any director can do right now is not do a fucking Marvel or a DC movie. You're gonna get the equivalent of an actor getting typecasted because you're gonna be known for Marvel movie. Because look at the Russo brothers or whatever.
Oh yeah.
They just did this Netflix movie that they pay
The
like
Gray Man?
200 million, which apparently is not good.
I've been hearing mixed things about it. I've been curious about it because I spoke to, who did I speak to? I spoke to somebody this weekend that pretty much said that they actually enjoyed it. So I was curious about what brought out the enjoyment
Yeah,
for them. I haven't seen it yet, but I know the critics weren't a
we're
big.
not happening. And apparently
Did
this
they
was
do? No, they. I don't think they did it, but did they? Did they do the Cherry? Was that them as well?
Cherry.
Yeah, it's on Apple TV with Spider-Man, the Spider-Man actor.
Oh, Tom Holland.
Yeah. So it's a movie about like a vet that goes to rob a bank or something. That might be them too, and
You're
that
right.
got
I think so. Yeah,
that got panned.
That got panned too. So
And I spoke to my sister. My sister loves like 90% of all movies, and she said it was good, but it was also like an hour too long. So
damn.
that's what made it bad. So, but I don't know. But anyways, back to Marvel directed flicks and the attachment of these directors to them that caused the downfall of these directors. Who else has gotten downfalled or downfelled? I mean, in general, full circle back to what you were saying. This gentleman, I'm pointing. This is
The poster,
This
yep.
is a video. This is a video medium, so you guys can see me pointing, right? Okay, cool. There's the movie director Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
He's done some greats. He directed one of my favorite movies, Looper.
Right.
But then he went on to do
Star Wars.
The Last Jedi, and that was I don't even know what the fuck it was. It was just all over the place. It was. I will give him the notion that he went to take the Star Wars verse into a unique sort of angle,
Right.
but he kind of pulled some of the campy funness out of it and made it sort of a serious take of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he also, this is just kind of like what they did with Black Panther. You know, they've posthumously removed him from the movie pretty much because he passed away.
Right.
They CG'd
Yeah.
Leia, like the character pretty much could have just floated into space and died, and that could have been her end. But they literally had her use the Force to come back to life, when that would have been a perfect end for her. So, but I'm digressing into a plot of a movie that wasn't that good anyway. The point is, Ryan Johnson has made some movies. Some have been pretty good, but I think I might have given him enough chances because I watched Knives Out, and I was kind of bored, and it was very, to me at least, it got raved about, but I felt it was very predictable and very
Knives Out not only got great reviews.
yeah. It's got a sequel coming.
That's what I'm saying. It made
Got
enough money.
More cast and
Yeah.
all that. I don't know.
I'll tell you right now.
I expected to enjoy it. I was really like on board. Like, this is going to be great. And then I watched it. I'm like, really? Like, that's the bad guy. I figured that out the first 5 minutes. Why is there still 2.5 hours of movie left? So.
I watched it with Taylor, and I was like,
Yeah.
we sat there and like, and all I can think of is how high we're rating this kind of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I guess this is gonna be.
And it was, yeah, you go in, I think
No, you're
the
totally right.
expectations
This is
got
like
too high.
Talk about your sister saying Cherry was an hour and a half too long. I think Knives Out was too fucking long for
Yeah.
what it was. Like, just wrap that shit up.
Very stylized, very much
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson-esque. Because back to Ryan Johnson, actually, to not give him any more chances, I probably would, because he's directed some of the better episodes of Breaking Bad.
Okay.
So he did quite a few that actually pack a lot of like oomph in terms of the greater stories within the Breaking Bad universe. So with that in mind, he does do a lot of good, but at the same time, you get a movie like Knives Out and you're like, what the fuck, dude? which is funny because that's like what you and I are saying, and I know another person's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Knives Out was a fucking brilliant movie, and I don't understand how you don't see the stylized notion of the noir." I'm like, no, it's. I was not. I was.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I was just. I really.
I was
like,
underwhelmed. Pretty much.
Yeah, there was a certain point where I was just like, okay, come on, we get the fucking
Right,
movie over,
exactly.
please.
Acting was great. Everything.
Yeah.
Setting, the style, everything seemed cool, but it was just dragged on a little too long. And like, I don't know if it was just me, but like, as soon as they started like inching at the fact that Chris Evans' character was kind of shady, I was like, so he's the bad guy, right? And then of course the end of the movie is like, yeah, well, it's Chris Evans. He's gonna. It's like, that's what I fucking said 5 minutes into the goddamn movie. Like, did you purposely like not guys? Like, was it not hidden on purpose or? Like, I expected when they said it was going to be a murder mystery that there would be a murder mystery involved. Like, I watched
You're just too smart for the
I'm just a
common
genius.
folks.
I'm just a fucking genius. I watched the show Search Party
Oh yeah,
on Hulu.
Yeah,
Apple TV. One of those.
was that
Apple Hulu.
No, it's
Paramount.
it's Hulu. Isn't it Melissa McCarthy?
No.
Nicole Kidman? No.
This one is
So then forget it.
it's Sam Richardson from the Detroiters. Shout out to Detroiters. Great show, everybody.
Great show.
Watch it.
Watch it. It's been canceled. Yeah, that's right. It's Apple TV.
But that one it felt like I mean, maybe because it was dished out in little episodes.
Which Knives Out definitely no. Knives Out was not. It's not even worthy
I don't
of
think
a
it could
show.
be episodic.
No.
But apparently it's worthy of a sequel, and that's coming soon.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine it's gonna be new people and the new murder.
I don't know.
You know.
Knives Out, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, exactly.